Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm actually going to do my first Csec past paper with you all. This is actually Csec past paper, Maths paper 1, 2022. So I'm going to go through each question and how we get the solution. So please stay tuned to see what I have in store. Number 1. It says here, what percentage of 40 is 8? So really, you're supposed to say now the key word here is of. So what percentage of 40 is 8? So 8 over 40 multiplied by 100, we're supposed to work this out, and we will get 20. 20 is the answer. So number 1 is B. Now moving on to number 2. Number 2. The number 3.14063 written to 3 decimal places is, now remember decimal places always start from the point, right? So this is your first, your second, your third, fourth, and your fifth. So your third decimal place is actually the 0. So you're going to look at the 6. The 6 is more than 5, so that 0 is going to become a 1. So your answer is going to be 3.141, which is actually B. So number 2, B. Number 3. They say if 4.3 by 0.37 is equal to 1.591, then what is 0.43 by 3.70? Now remember, you're not supposed to use a calculator for this. So what we're supposed to do is simple logic, right? In this case, I have this decimal, these two decimals giving us this. Now I have the same digits on the side here and here, right? But it's not at the same point. From 4.3, it went to 0.43. So it means that this point here moved one space to the left to give us this value here, right? And from 0.37, it actually went 2 spaces, well actually 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3 to get 370. So moving one space to the left and 3 spaces to the right actually cancels off and gives us 2 spaces to the right. So that means this answer here will be adjusted by 2 spaces to the right. So I'll go 1, 2, so that will be 159.1. So the answer is C. The first 3 common multiples of 3, 4, and 6 are, the first thing I'll do is list 3, 4, and 6, and, well, list their multiples. So that'll be 3, 6, 9, 12, etc., 4, 8, 12, 16, etc., 6, 12, 18, 24, etc., right? So it looks as if, well, 1 can't be the answer, B wouldn't be the answer either, neither C, so therefore this one, D, will have to be the answer. So number 4 is D. If 350 is shared at the ratio of 2 to 5, what is the smaller share? The smaller share is 2. The total value that it will be out of is 7, because 2 plus 5, so it will be 2 on 7 multiplied by 350, which will end up giving us 100. So number 5 is C. Number 6 says there are 40 students in a class. Girls make up 60% of the class. So girls are 60% of 40, which is 24. 25% of these girls wear glasses. So 25% of that wears glasses, so that you just divided by 4. So how many girls wear glasses? The answer is E. Number 7, this is a universal set. H is 3, 4, and 6. H complement means anything that is outside of this, so that will be 1, 2, and 5. So the only answer that has that is B. So number 7 is B. Number 8 now says, which of the following statements describes the set of integers greater than minus 3 but less than 6? It must be greater than minus 3, but it cannot include, not including minus 3, and it must be less than 6, not including 6. So the only one that has that answer is this last one here. All of these signs are wrong. You can't have them like this in this direction. This one is a possibility as well. However, this is if we were to include minus 3 and 6. So that is why D is the answer. Number 9 now speaks about sets. It says if n of x is 9 and n of x intersect y is 4 and n of x union y is 15, what is n of y? Now we have to use the formula n of x union y is equal to n of x plus n of y minus n of x intersect y. So substituting these values here, I'll get 15 is equal to 9 plus n of y minus 4. And working backwards, we will end up getting the answer to be C, 10. Because 15 plus 4 minus 9, sending these values over on this side, will give us our 10. So that's the answer for number 9. Number 10 now, it says X represents a set of factors. So this one here is factors of 12, right? And Y is actually factors of 9. So we're looking at what's in the middle here would be the factors of both 9 and 12. Now the factors of 9 and 12 would actually be 1 and 3, which are really the factors of 3. So the answer for 10 would be E. So just to recap those answers for numbers 1 to 10, I have it here. These are the first 10 answers for Jan 2022 paper 1. So in this question here, number 11, we speak about two groups, right? Either having a cat or a dog, or none of the two. All the students who have a cat also have a dog. So it means that if you have a cat, you also have a dog. So it means cat is in dog, right? Meaning the group with cat is also in dog, which kind of looks like this set down here. But let's check the numbers. If 12 people have a cat, which is represented here, and 16 people have dogs, right? Then it's also represented there, because that means that we will have to make the difference, right? 16 minus 12 will be 4, right? Then it means that the outside value will be 14. And how did we get this 14 out here? It's because it's 30 in all. So this whole circle here will really represent 16. So 30 minus 16 will give me the 14. So the answer for number 11 is D. Number 12, they ask which is an example of a disjoint set. We're just looking at it and reading the first one. Even numbers can be odd numbers. So this one, A is the answer. For number 12, E. Number 13 deals with currency. It says if EC 250 is equivalent to $1 US, then what is EC $20? So then you write it up like this. 250 EC $2.50 is US $1. Then 1 EC dollar will actually be 1 over 250 US. So then 20 EC dollars will be 1 over 250 multiplied by 20. So you just simply move this 2 spaces, move this 2 spaces. 250 divided by 2000 works out to be $8. So your answer for number 13 is B. At a store, 3 cents on every dollar is spent is charged as a sale tax. So how much is paid as a sale tax on a costume which costs $196? Now how much is $196 in dollars? Well, it's $196. So it's 3 cents for each of those. So it's 196 multiplied by 0.03 like this, and working that out, we'll get 5.88. Now remember, when you're multiplying, you can't use a calculator, so you could just simply ignore. You will get your 588, ignore the point here, and then you put in the point afterwards. So that's how we'll get this. So 588, the answer is A. The cash price of a television set is $350, or it can be bought on hire purchase. Now the hire purchase has a couple conditions. There's a deposit of $35, and then there are monthly payments of 12 by 30. So 12 by 30, that's $360. Add in your $35 to this now. Let's line it up properly. You get $395. Now they ask how much is saved. So we take this $395 and minus the $350, and we will get $45. So number 15 is D. Now number 16 was a little tricky, I found. A company employs 20 persons as gardeners, right? The mean daily wage of all the employees is $22.40. So $22.40 is really the total pay, right, over the total amount of employees, which is 20, right? So I'm just saying the total pay will actually be $22.40 by 20. So the total pay will actually be $448. If each of the 12 gardeners is paid $26 a day, then the daily amount to be paid to the 8 clerks. Now the 20 persons made up of 12 gardeners and 8 clerks, right? But they're telling us of this 448, there are 12 gardeners who are paid $26. So I'm going to minus the 12 by 26 here, right? So minus on that, I will get 136, right? 136 is the total amount for the 8 clerks. So I will just divide this 136 by 8 and I'll get 17. So $17 is the daily amount that these 8 clerks will be paid. So number 16, the answer is B. Number 17, it says that Delano invests $5,000 for 2 years in an investment scheme. Its compound interest at 8%. So we all know compound interest, it's principal by 1 plus rate to the n. So that's 5,000 by 1 plus 0.08 to the 2 years. So it's really the same as 5,000 by 1.08 squared, right? I'm working this out. We'll get 5,832. But it says what will be the amount of his investment at the end of the 2-year period, right? It will be this figure here. So number 17 is D. Now, if they had asked for what is the amount of interest that was earned, then the answer would have been B. Number 18 now deals with depreciation. It's at a rate of 10% per annum and started at $12,000. What is the value at the end of 1 year? Well, I just simply take the 12,000 and I multiply by 90% because that's the difference, what's left. So that's 120 by 90, and it turns out to be 10,800. So A is the answer for number 18. Number 19. A man's basic wage for 40 hours is $160. He is paid $5 an hour for overtime. If he works 6.5 hours overtime, what is his wage for the week? So usually he will get the $160 every week, but he is actually going to get more now because it's going to be 5 by 6.5. So that turns out to be $32.50. So when we add these two values, we're going to get $192.50. So this is the answer, D. Number 20 now deals with commission. It says a man sells $10,500, right? And he is paid 5% for the first 10,000 and 8% of the remainder. So the first 10,000 would actually be 5% of 10,000, which will work out to be 500, right? Remember how you're doing this? It will be 5 over 100 multiplied by 10,000 to show you the full working, right? The balance now, which is just an extra 500, will be at 8%. So it's 8 over 100 multiplied by 500. So 8 divided by 100 multiplied by 500, cancelling down, we get 40. So we adding up these two, we'll get 540. So the answer for 20 is B. Now, to give you a recap of the next 10 sums, these are my answers. These are the answers for the first 1 to 20. Number 21, it says Althea normally saves X dollars each month, but in June she saved $4 more than twice her usual amount. So $4 more than twice the amount. Twice the amount is actually 2x, and $4 more is plus 4. So the answer will be C, 21C. Number 22 now deals with binary operations. So it says m star n is equal to the square root of m cubed minus n squared. So what is 5 star 2? Well, then it will be the square root of 5 cubed minus 2 squared. 5 cubed is 5 by 5 by 5, which is 125. 2 squared is 4. So that's really the square root of 121. I'm not seeing that as one of the answers, but I know the square root of 121 is 11. So D is my answer. Now 23 deals with a trapezium, right? So they give us some measurements here, and they said what is the area is x squared. So the area of a trapezium we know is a half a plus b by height, where we can call this side here a, side with 2, this side here b, and the height is h, right? So then I will write x squared is equal to, well, a half of 2 plus x minus 4 multiplied by h, right? Now that will work out to be a half of, what is 2 plus this? That will be 2 minus 4. That will end up being x minus 2 multiplied by h, right? So that actually looks like the answer here, A, right? So I will just say A is my answer. So now I'll do 24 and 25. This works out to be a nice easy one. Minus by minus is a positive, so it will be 2q minus 3q. I have 2 and I owe 3, so that means I owe 1. So C is the answer for 24. And then for number 25, it looks like this says 5 to the n, plus 1 multiplied by 5 to the n plus 2. So the rule of indices is when you have multiply and you have the same base here like 5 and 5, I'm just going to add it up. N plus 1 plus n plus 2, which is really 5 to the 2n plus 3. And this answer looks like the best match. It's just a little blurry. Please excuse me for that. But yes, 25B. Number 26. Now let's simplify. We'll get 5y minus 10 minus 3y minus 12 is 0. 5y minus 3y is 2y. Minus 10 minus 12 is minus 22. Send it over, becomes a positive 22. 22 divided by 2 is 11. So number 26D. Number 27 refers to vectors. P and Q are these two vectors respectively. What is P take away Q? Well, that will simply be 3, 7 minus 2, 5. So that will be 3 minus 2, which is 3 plus 2, which is 5. 7 minus 5, which is 2. So 5, 2, the answer is C. Number 28 now, again refers to vectors, right? We have a diagram here with two vectors. So if here is K, then this one over here is also K, going down in the same direction is also M. So what is EG? EG is the vector going across like this. For me to get from E to G, I could go this way, or I could go the other way around, meaning this way, right? So if I go this way, it will be M plus K, which is the first answer, E. Number 29 now, what I will do is I'll multiply this out. I'll say 5 by x is 5x will be equal to 4 by 10, which is 40. And then 5y, multiplying this way and this way now, I'll get 4 by 20 is 80. So then x would be 40 divided by 5, which is 8. And y will be 80 divided by 5, which is 16. Right, so x is 8 and y is 16, so B is the answer. Number 30 is a little tricky. It deals with matrices now. The order of this matrix is 2 rows by 3 columns, and this one is 3 rows by 2 columns. So because I have an ending tree and a starting tree here, I can multiply them in this order, right? So now what will I get? I'll end up getting a 2 by 2 matrix, right? So that means 2 values on the top, 2 values at the bottom. So it will be this row by this column to give me my first value. So that'll be 1 by 3 is 3, 3 by 2 is 6, minus 3 by 0, well that's 0, I'm not going to put a 2 for that. Then I'm going to multiply that same row by the second column here, I'll get 0, 3 by 1 is 3, minus 3 by 5 is minus 15. Right, now I'm repeating the same step here, but I'm using the bottom now with the first row. So 3 by 3 is 9. And then 0 by 2 is 0, 5 by 0 is 0. So 9 is the bottom value. 3 by 0 is 0, 0 by 1 is 0, 5 by 5 is 25. So I know my ending values, the values at the bottom are 9 and 25, which actually have them in these three answers. But the top value here will be 9, and this will be minus 12. So 9 minus 12, 9, 25. D is the answer. So again, to recap the first 30 answers for this paper, this is it. Right, so number 31 refers to distance time. So we know the formula, speed is equal to distance over time. Now what they're asking us for, what is the average speed? So we don't know the speed. Do we know the distance? Yes, the distance is 1080 kilometers, and they wanted it in kilometers per hour. So yes, we're working with kilometers very nicely, and we're dividing by the time, which is again in hours. So that's really good. So just dividing these two, I will end up getting 120. So 120. C is the answer for number 31. Now, in number 32 now, they ask for what is the perimeter of the trapezium in millimeters. Now, that's the trick here, right? Because they give us all the measurements in meters, but we want it in millimeters. So what I can do is I can just add up all 4 values in meters and then convert, right? Now, you have to remember King Henry died one day drinking chocolate milk, right? So if I am at meters and I want to go to millimeters, that will be 1, 2, 3 jumps this way. So I could move each of them 3 jumps that way and then add them up, or I could just add them up as is and then move by 3. Right? So if I'm adding them up as is, just using regular decimals, meaning you're putting it like this, lining them up. I will end up getting 0.92, and moving it 3 jumps to the right, I will get 920. So D is the answer. In number 33 now we deal with circles. If the circumference of a circle is 15 centimeters and the length of the minor arc is actually, well, if this whole circumference around here is 15, then this is just 120 of that, so it will be 120 over 360 multiplied by 15. And which one gives us that? That will be here, right? If they had asked for the major arc, that would have been this side here, right? So then we would have been taken away. So B is the answer for 33. Okay, number 34 as well deals with distance time graphs. So what they're saying is that an aircraft leaves A at 16 hours and arrives at B at 19 hours and 30 minutes. So that means it actually took 3.5 hours. So that's the time, right? And if it's average speed, so its speed is 550 kilometers per hour, then what is the distance? So we know speed is equal to distance over time. So we'll put 550 on this side is equal to, we don't know what distance is, over 3.5. So then distance will be 3.5 multiplied by 550. And that works out to be 1925. So that is how much in kilometers is the distance. Right, so in number 35, they say the length of the major arc is 40 centimeters. That's this dotted line here, right, is 40. What is the circumference? So then, what is the major arc there? Then that'll be 300 degrees. So 300 degrees is really 40 centimeters. So therefore, 1 degree will be 40 over 300. So therefore, 360 degrees will be 40 over 300. That's a different way of doing it, but it still works. 40 divided by 300 multiplied by 360, cancelling down everything, and so on. We will end up getting 48. So B is the answer. Number 36, the volume of a cuboid is 320 centimeters cubed and the height is 5 centimeters. If the cuboid has a square base, what is the length of one side? Please excuse my drawing, right? But if, say, it looks like this, then the volume would be 320, right? And the height is 5, right? So the square base, so what it means, I say here is x and then here is x, and the volume would have to be x by 5 is 320. So that will be 5x squared is equal to 320. Cancelling down now, we'll get x squared is equal to 320 divided by 5. That's 64. So then x will be the square root of 64, which is 8. Number 37, the area of a triangle is 60. And they say that the base is 12 centimeters and what is the perpendicular height? So we could go with height by 12 over 2, right? Working backwards here, I'll get 120 is equal to height by 1 by 12. So therefore height will be 120 divided by 12, which is 10. So B is the answer for 37. Right. As number 38 now. A square has the same area as a rectangle of sides 9 and 16. So 9 by 16 is actually 144. So this is the area here of the rectangle, and if it's a square, has the same 144 area, so that means it has to be 12 and 12 here. What is the length of a side? Well, and how did I get that 12? I just took the square root of 144. So number 38, numbers 39 and 40 refer to this table, and number 39 says the upper limit of the modal class. Modal class means the most frequent. So we're looking at frequency and seeing which number is the largest. That's 40 here. So this is the modal class. The upper limit will actually be 60. So C is the answer. And then looking at number 40 now, how many children have a mass greater than 40 kilograms? So let's look at 40 kilograms as here's up to 40 kilograms, right? So having a mass of greater than 40 kilograms would be 24, 40, and 18. We have to add these three. So 24, 40 plus 18 will end up being 82. So 82 children have a mass that is greater than 40 kilograms. So that's the answer for number 40. Again, having a recap of the last 10 questions that I just did. These are the answers. Right, now let's continue with the other 10. Right, so in number 41 it refers to this table here. These are the scores and these are the students, the number of students that scored 2, 3, 5, etc. Right, so the modal score is the highest one, so that'll be 12 is the modal score. Well, sorry, 12 is the highest number of students right? And so then the modal score will be 8. So A is the answer, because that score of 8 yielded the highest number of students, right? So the answer is not 12. It's actually pointing to the score number. So the modal score is 8. Now, number 42 deals with this diagram here. This is a cumulative frequency curve. It goes up to 200, right? So they're asking for the median of the marks scored of the 200 students. So the median will actually be half of this 200. So half of the 200 will point to 100, which is around there. Coming across here now and reading down out here, it looks like it may end up being not 35. This is 35 here. So it might be 37.5, right? So C is the answer. Number 43 refers to this bar graph here. So it says how many students took part in the entire survey. So that'll be 3 students here in the first category, then plus 4, 3 plus 4 plus 2 plus 5 plus 1, and that works out to be 15. So 15 students in total. So B is the answer. 600 students write an examination. The probability of randomly selected a student's who's failing the exam is 1/5. How many students are expected to pass? Well, then it will be 4/5 are expected to pass. So 4/5 of 600, and that works out to be 480. So number 44, C. Now, in number 45, they ask which one represents a linear equation. A linear equation must be written like this. Y is equal to mx plus c. Now, it doesn't have to be y as the subject of the formula, right? But the power of x must be 1, and there must be nothing looking too fancy, right? Like, say, for instance, here, the highest power of x here is 2. So, no, this is actually a quadratic. So, not this one. Same for here, this is 2, not this one. No, this is not a linear because I'd have to send this over. I'll get 4 on x, which is actually x to the minus 1. So that is kind of fancy, right? And so this one is the answer, C. Number 46 now says that the set of ordered pairs represents the relation that is a function, right? So these are some 3 ordered pairs, and it says it is a function. A function is a one-to-one or many-to-one mapping, right? Now, which of these coordinates here will not be represented in a function? So it means that it will not make it a one-to-one and not make it a many-to-one. Now, what stands out to me is that the value 2 maps onto 7, minus 4 maps onto 6, 10 maps onto 4. So one-to-one meaning this is one value mapping onto here, one value mapping onto here, and one value mapping onto here. So this works, right? Now, it can work if it's many-to-one, so meaning many values mapping onto 7, many values mapping onto 6, many values mapping onto 4, right? But I'm not seeing those here, 7, 6, or 4 in my y values. However, I am seeing a repeat of 2. 2 is also mapping onto 8. So if I were to include this one up here, this will not make it a function, because then it will mean the same value is mapping onto many values. So that will actually be 1 to many. So that is why I would say A will not make this function then, because A will make that condition of it being one-to-one false, right? And it can't even be many-to-one too. If we had A in it, it would actually end up being one-to-many. And once you have a one-to-many condition in a relation, it is not a function. So my answer for 46 is A. In number 46 now, we're given a mapping diagram here with some arrows, and we're asked to work out what is the relationship. Y is more than x. Let me look at y. Y is 2, 3, and 4. That is not more than x, so this is out. Y is a multiple of x, right? 2 is a multiple of 8. That's not true, actually. 2 is a factor of 8, right? But let me see again. 4 is a, so this is out. 4 is a factor of 8, yes. 3 is a factor of 9, and 2 is a factor of 10. So I would actually say x is a factor of y. No, this is not true. I will say y is a factor of x, actually. So this is off. So then that leaves me the last one, which says x is a multiple of y. Now, multiple means all the values from the multiplication tables, right? So meaning, like say multiples of 8 will be 8, 16, 24, etc. Right? So X is a multiple of Y. 8 is a multiple of 2. Yes, because the multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. Right? So I will say D is the best answer here. Now, what is the gradient of this straight line? Lots of you might say, Miss, it's actually the value in front of X. Yes, it is once Y is the subject of the formula. But Y is not the subject. We actually have 2Y as the subject of the formula. So let's make Y the subject. So which means I'm sending over this 2 over on the side. So I get minus 8 divided by 2, which is minus 4. So my gradient is actually minus 3 on 2. So that is the gradient. Number 49 now, h of x is equal to 3x minus 2 all over 5. So h of minus 6 will actually be 3 by minus 6 minus 2 all over 5 minus 18 minus 2 all over 5. Please do not try to cancel top and bottom here. You need to work out the top first, which is minus 20 over 5, which will end up being minus 4. So the answer for 49 is A. Now, if my function is f of x is equal to minus x squared, right? And if my domain is minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2. Let me just try to draw up what this will map onto, right? When x is minus 2 squared will be 4. But once I stick in a minus in front of it, it will end up being minus 4. When x is minus 1 squared is 1. Stick in a minus in front of it, minus 1. 0 squared would be 0, right? 1 squared is 1. Stick in a minus 1, we'll end up going back here like this. Right? And 2 squared would be 4. Stick in a minus in front of it, we'll end up giving you back minus 4. So, the actual values in your range will be minus 4, minus 1, and 0. Right? So, that will actually be B. So, number 50 is B. So again, showing the last summary of the last 10 questions and the solutions. Here they are. And now let me move on to the last 10 questions. Right, so they say L is parallel to this line. So let us firstly make Y the subject of the formula. So if I just send Y here, I'll get 2x minus 8 is equal to 5y. So Y will really be 2 on 5x minus 8 on 5. So my gradient is 2 on 5. So the gradient will also be 2 on 5, right? If it's parallel. If it were perpendicular, then I'll have to flip it and change the sign, right? So C is the answer for number 51. 52, they ask where does y is equal to 0 intersect this curve? So it will be this curve. Now if I were to factorize, I'll get x bracket 4 minus x, right? So this will be x is equal to 0 and 4 minus x is equal to 0. Sending that over, I'll get x is 4, right? So that is where y is 0. So x is 0 and x is 4 will give me the answer A. So 52 is A. Number 53 now says that we're speaking about a translation, right? We have AB here going across to A dash B dash. In the diagram, the translation which maps AB to A dash B dash is actually, let's see, I went from 2 in the x to 4, so it looks like it's adding 2 at the top, and I went from 5 to 6, so it's y at the 1 at the bottom. So it may be 2, 1, just checking over, yes. If I apply this translation to this point here, I will get this point. So 2, 1 is my answer, which is B. Number 54 now deals with angles. P and Q, this is alternate angles. That's why the Z is formed, and it means that they are equal. So therefore, A is the answer, 54A. Number 55 now, it says a ship sailed 8 kilometers due east from A to B. Now this is just the option for A because I can't fit all of them at the same time. So if I have a A point, right, from A to B, it went east. So there's north, south, west, east, right? So that means it'll be 8 kilometers this way. Right, so we're seeing that, okay, well, obviously it wouldn't be this one, right? And then it sailed north 6 kilometers. So then it went up by 6 kilometers to C here. So here would be B. So let's look and see which one gives us the best solution that matches this one. So it doesn't look like B. C is an option, because it is 8 and then 6. Yeah, so I think my answer will be C. So C means that from from A, sorry, it went 8 kilometers east to the right. That means to the right, and then it goes 8 kilometers north, which is upward, right? So C is my answer. Number 56 now. They ask us what is the angle Y? Well, there's an angle formed at the center here and then an angle formed on this arc here. So we know that's double this angle here. So it will be 50 by 2, which will actually be 100. So D is the answer. In 57, they gave us a graph Y is equal to X, right? So this refers to this graph here. If the line Y is equal to X is rotated anti-clockwise 90 degrees, so anti-clockwise means that it's going this way 90 degrees, then it will end up being a graph like this, right, which will end up being Y is equal to minus X, right? So that will be the answer there. In triangle ABC, A is X degrees and B is 2X degrees. What is the size of angle C? So let's try to draw this up. So say here was X and then here is 2X. Then here will actually be 180 minus X minus 2X, which is 180 minus 3X, right? So that would be D. Okay, so in this question here now, we can look at it as this is alternate angles. I'm assuming these two are parallel. So here's 35, right? Right, and then here will also be 90 minus 35, so this will be 55. So if we're asked to find YZ, then YZ, we could look at it as, well, if we look at it like this way, here's opposite, here's adjacent, and here's hypotenuse. So we could say, if we use opposite, that will be sine. Sine of 35 is equal to YZ over 12. So 12 sine 35 is YZ. Now, you may not see this as an answer, and if not, then we'll look at the 55s. But actually, it is an answer here. It's actually part B. So B is the answer here for number 59. Now we're moving on to the final question. Which trig ratio is equal to 4 on 8, right? So say I were to look at here as, according to here, I'll use here opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. So then I could say opposite over hypotenuse would be sine of x. So sine of x is actually A, so number 60, A. So now let us look at a summary of all the answers. So based on my solutions, these are the 60 answers that I got. Please let me know if this helped. If there are any errors that I would have made, also just let me know as well. And I hope that it was helpful, and I wish you all the best in your upcoming exams. Thanks for tuning in.